This is our new friend, Jivani. She joined us at the trailhead. Every time we go hiking, almost, a dog joins us for a hike and then leaves us when we finish. So she's our new friend for the day. And you can see we're in the middle of these beautiful, deep wildflowers. You know, spring, summer in the mountains is amazing. All this life, all this new growth gives you great inspiration. So we're just headed on up. And we were here in winter. In fact, we took a Happy Man video against that rock. And in winter, it's all snow and deep, snow. But now it's the opposite of that. So as things change, by the seasons, things change in our life. We go from winter to spring to summer to fall in life. But the soul never changes, always the same. All right, let's continue. Haribo! So here we are at the Eagle's Nest. And in winter, we've been here a few times in winter, this was the destination. Because to continue on up, which we're going to do today, would be not safe because of the avalanche danger coming off this big peak. But today, this is where we're stopping for breakfast. And then we're going to continue on, as I said, and go through this path. And on the backside, supposedly there's a lake. That's what our friends Daniel and Dima say. So we're putting our faith in them. They're our guides for the day, and we'll find out. Of course, it'll be a cold lake, snowmelt lake. Okay, as you can see, there's still snow down below here in this tight little valley. And in winter, avalanches come off these slopes and just fill this valley with additional snow other than the snowfall. So, number one, the sun doesn't get into that valley very much. And number two, there's a lot more snow to melt. So yeah, nature's beautiful. We're having a wonderful time. And we're going to have breakfast, and then we'll be heading on up to the higher regions. Right now, we have climbed about 2,000 feet from the start. So that's a good start. All right. See you later. Namaste. So here we are at the first lake. You would hope it was the last lake, but no, there's more to go. This is just the preliminary one. Probably the overflow from the one that's up behind this hill. But as you can see, beautiful high alpine terrain here. You know, above tree line, of course, above vegetation up there. It's all barren. And pretty much all the way around, still quite a lot of snow in the back. So here it is, June, what is today?
20.
June what?
5th, I think.
25th?
Or 24th.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Late June, and it's still quite cool where we are. As I say, a lot of snow in the background. Very quiet, very peaceful. And we've seen several marmots. These are a little mountain rodent, about the size of a really big cat. And they live in the rocks. And when you're coming up, they start chirping. And one is always on guard, sitting on top of a rock. And then when they sense some danger, they all run into their holes under the rocks. So Jivani, our dog for the day, she likes to run at them, and of course they disappear. So yeah, like I say, this is first little lake. We're going to continue up to the other one, and then we'll have some lunch and take a rest and have a little kirtan. Okay, see you there. Here we are at the lake, Amazing Lake. Quite small, of course. Snow all around and a beautiful turquoise color.
Yeah.
So this was the goal, and we achieved it. Here we are, over 11,000 feet elevation, 11,260 feet. Quite high. So yeah, this is high alpine terrain for real. This is real mountain terrain. So the yogis in the Himalayas, they live in these kinds of mountains much higher than this also. But what they're trying to do is get away from everybody and do a type of yoga which is generally called mystic yoga. They try to completely control the senses and the mind and raise the kundalini, and perhaps if they're successful, leave their body at the top of the head and merge into what is known as the Brahmani effulgence, which is the spiritual light of the spiritual world. Brahma Jyoti. Brahma means spirit, Jyoti means light. So it's the spiritual light of the spiritual world. This is their goal. But in Bhakti Yoga, it's a completely different goal, because in this mystic system, when you do succeed in merging into this Brahman effulgence, you lose awareness that you are an individual. You basically become spiritually unconscious. In other words, you're just in a state of feeling oneness with everything, or void, or however you might describe it, where it's just all one, nothing exists as individuals. You merge, so you're basically unconscious. But of course, in such a condition, there is no activity for the soul, and there's no awareness of any other personalities, which eliminates the possibility of any type of love. There's no service involved because there's no other personalities. It's just like in the void again. So this does not satisfy the soul. It eliminates all material difficulties, birth, disease, old age, death, all the other difficulties that one experiences in the material world. But it doesn't really satisfy the soul's eternal need for a loving relationship with the perfect person and serving that person due to that loving relationship. So that is absent. So this yogi who has strived so hard to achieve this, maybe over many lifetimes, he will eventually come back down into the material realm, enter into another material body, identify himself as that material body in almost all cases, and become again involved in karma and material life. So it's not a solution on the absolute scale. You can go back up, come back down, go back up, come back down. Sometimes such yogis are referred to as yo-yo yogis, up and down, up and down. But in Bhakti Yoga, one is not setting the goal of the Brahman, the Brahma Jyoti. His goal is to reach the Supreme Person. So that's what he's doing along the way, is recognizing the Supreme Person and serving the Supreme Person under rule and regulation in the sadhana bhakti process, gradually becoming more and more perfect in his relationship with the Supreme. So he goes, when he leaves the body, and this relationship is now really, truly established, he goes through the Brahma Jyoti to the Vaikuntha planets, assumes a spiritual form, and has that relationship that has already been cultivated with the Supreme Lord, who is eternally in his supreme abode of Goloka Vrindavan. And there is the perfection of relationship, perfection of activity, perfection of love. And now the soul is truly happy and truly satisfied. And this is the ultimate goal. So you can see, because we made this lake the goal, we achieved this. But if the goal had been the top of that peak behind us, then we would have had to keep going. So for the mystic yogi, this may be a goal, but you got to keep going if you want to reach that ultimate peak. And so you need the perfect guide, the perfect master, and of course the desire and determination to achieve this goal. And then you'll be successful, 100% successful. So yeah, that's how it is. In this life, achieve this lake or that ridge line or whatever, so there's spiritual goals, and when you achieve those, you've really achieved something of value. And of course, the ultimate goal is love for God. Can't get away from that, because that's always the end. But at the same time, it's the beginning of the journey. Okay, that's enough for now. Haribol.
Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine
Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pacharane Nirvasesha Sunyavare Vashachadi Satarane.
Namaste Saraswati Deva Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Vastachada Shatarine
Namo Mahabharanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Snaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaurati Shinama.
Namo Mahavadhanaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gaura Vishe Namah.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadara Shri Vatsari Gaurabhakta Vrindam.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktavinda.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhakta Vrindam.
Bhaja Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasudeva Gaur Bhaktavinda.
Well, we're at the top of where we were going to go today. It wasn't that big a hike, but we had a nice time. Went and bathed in the cold stream and had a nice lunch and nice kirtan. Answered some questions that people asked from different Happy Man videos. And now we're going to head back down. But I just heard a story that's kind of an interesting story. And it's in relation to somebody playing like a saintly person and getting people to come and follow and give things to them and so on, when they're really not a saintly person. They're just playing the game. So there's a great saint, Narada Muni, and he's the one who told this story. And one time there was a cat. And this cat, of course, being a cat, would prey on mice and birds and so on. So one time he decided he was going to go down by the Ganges River and perform austerities and become a saintly cat. So he goes down by the river and he begins to engage in his austerities. He'd stand on his back legs with his front legs up in the air like this all day long. And he would only eat roots and fruits, which is what the ascetics live on when they're doing their ascetics in the forest. So anyway, he did, and he was, becoming such a quiet, mellow cat that the birds quit being afraid of him. And they started coming around, being very close. And then a little while later, the mice, seeing him performing all these great austerities and becoming a different cat, they became unafraid too. And so they started coming around the cat. And then the cat told the mice, doing all these austerities and eating only roots and fruits from the forest, I'm getting very weak, and I need you to help me go down and bathe in the river every day. So every day some mice would come and help the cat go down to the river to bathe. And of course, when he would go down there, the cat would eat the mice. And so they never came back. And the next day, some more mice would come to help the cat go down to the river. And then they never came back. And pretty soon, the mice and the birds started understanding what was going on. So they went back to being afraid of the cat, and the cat went back to being a cat. So that's the idea. You can't judge a book by the cover. A person may look a certain way, but really on the inside, they may be completely different. So one has to be very careful when they're dealing in this dimension of spiritual life. There's many, many cheaters, and there's many people being cheated. Okay, story for the day. So behind us, you can see the city down below, way down. And up here it's cool and fresh air. Down there it's quite warm and not fresh air. So you can see a big difference in the city and mountain life. A lot of people up here today, but the thing I like about it is they have to work to get here. They just can't drive up in their car, jump out, say, oh, I'm in the mountains. They have to walk for about 2 hours up a quite steep grade, a lot of places, to get here. So yeah, you gotta earn your turn, so to speak. Okay, so thank you for joining us, and we'll be getting on down the hill, getting ready for our evening program of Sankirtan. All right, namaste, Haribol.